Clare and I'm so excited to be making this video today to be sharing how wonderful and awesome it is to study abroad at Michigan State University. So I did my freshman seminar in Florence and Rome, then I did the sports program down under in Australia, then I was in Dublin, Ireland doing literary studies. I was in Japan doing the education and cultural program abroad over there. And then lastly, this past summer, I was in Cape Town, South Africa doing the pre-internship experience for education. I wanted to study abroad because the world is amazing. My mom was actually the one that got me to go on the freshman seminar in Italy, and she pushed me, and I was so happy that she did because it showed me that the world was so much bigger than my little small town in Michigan. Not that I don't love it, but that there's so much more to the world and so much more to learn than that we actually know. So a super cool memory for me was conferencing with a bunch of South African education leaders who have all gotten their PhD and have been teachers in the classroom for a really long time, and seeing them being so passionate and so motivated to be willing to try to help develop a better education system and to try to help fix and motivate teachers around the city of Cape Town to become the best possible teachers that they could be for their students. When I was in Japan, this was also an education track. I got to co-teach with students from Shimane University and Tokyo Gakuge University, and this was also a super cool experience because I had the opportunity to really learn and to dive into co-teaching. And in South Africa, I was really lucky. They spoke predominantly English, so I was able to communicate all the time with the students, really dive in, get to know them with the culture, and really indulge myself in the classroom setting. In Japan, I also got to indulge myself in the classroom setting, but just in a little bit different way. With the co-teaching, I had to learn how to work together with international students, that English was their second, third, or maybe even fourth language, and to learn how to communicate and prosper to make a good lesson with other super smart and motivated education students was really cool. Another great thing I loved about this program was that we got to go see a bunch of different types of schools, and we taught in many different settings. So we had to adjust our lesson plans, re-coordinate, make up time for our own groups, and discuss how we were going to implement this lesson with us being the English speakers, teaching maybe some students that spoke Japanese that weren't as good as English, and having the Japanese education students support our learning as well as us supporting their learning. Actually learning how to be a real teacher in a real everyday setting. So just being able to compare all the education systems and really dive into the cultural differences but similarities that each education system have, and how to relate to students no matter where you're at in the world or what you're doing. I learned a lot about myself. There's so many different skill sets that you learn from going on a study abroad that I would never have today if I didn't have these experiences. So as I was stating earlier, it really opened my eyes to the world, and students will be students no matter where they're at. No matter what situation you're in, you have to learn how to relate and adapt to your students. So that was a really big thing that I learned. And, being an educator is not easy. It really isn't. So just getting the practice and experience to teach somewhere else was also super cool, because then you can kind of interpret what you're learning abroad and bring it back home, or vice versa, and just keep applying it and teaching your students new skills and letting them know students all across the world are going through the same thing. Another thing that I learned that has impacted me as an educator is there's so many people out there that want to help people and want to educate people. It really inspired me to want to do more. I want to keep going on in education, getting my master's degree, maybe one day my PhD, who knows. But going abroad really helped me see education within a different light. And my last biggest point that I took away as an educator is how I'm going to incorporate all my experiences and teach my students from an international perspective. I think this is so important, especially for kids nowadays, because they need to learn about the world. They need to learn that the world is out there for them. They need to see different cultures, different people, understand different people, and it'll make them a much more well-rounded and perspective person, I think. So for me, being an educator, that's one of the most important things I want to teach my students, is to be the best person they can be and to be inclusive in all settings that they're in. So I feel so fortunate that I was able to do as many studies abroad as I did. I highly encourage anybody to do any study abroad program. It has been an absolute blessing for me, and I'm so thankful for my experiences at Michigan State and all the scholarships that have helped me get to where I'm at today. So thank you, Michigan State, for everything. You should definitely study abroad.